And welcome back. Today we're flying out the MiG-21bis. And before they add rank 7 and completely ruin top tier yet again by massive power creeping, we are going to be flying these things out again and just see how they really stack up. I will start off with a little bit of a general overview how these planes work, what's changed, and then I will have 2 carry games for you. It's in the timestamp, so it's in like the progress bar. If you don't care about the overview, you can skip right to the interesting gameplay. First match here and the second one, a little bit of a cleanup, it's more of a background material. And then we'll have a double camera POV for the second game. And a while ago, when the MiG-21bis was introduced, the MiG-21 was extremely strong. It was faster than the F4E, it outmaneuvered it. And then what they did was they changed the flight models. The F4E now goes over 1400 kph on the deck. And the MiG-21bis will rip at 1365 or anything over that. It's a little bit RNG, but don't go over 1365 and you should be completely fine. But because of this change, the F4E now has basically all the cards. It's faster, it's extremely maneuverable at high speed, it's very easy to aim, it has one of the best guns in the game, it has more missiles, they're arguably better. Yes, this thing has 6 IR missiles, which I personally prefer. You can run the 4 R60s with the 2 R3Rs, and these missiles are not as finicky as the Sparrows are. And because of this, you can kind of lock someone up and just missile them at pretty close range. The R3R is just a much better missile at closer ranges than of course a Sparrow, and not only R60s, the R60s are much better at close range. It's all up to you, it's all preference. I prefer running 6 R60s because they're a little bit more useful. Problem is a lot of guys will just head on you and you don't have the gun to contest it, because the 23mm is one of the worst guns at top tier. Sure, it does a decent amount of damage, but that's not the main thing here. It's the range as well as the velocity. It's very hard to use. And the mount is also not very helpful because it's way down below on the plane. It's also pretty far back, making it very awkward to aim. The rudder is kind of awkward, so all in all you basically only will be getting kills with the missiles. You do get some kills here and there with the gun, but it's mostly people stalled out, people that want to dogfight you. But we all know at top tier, it's either gonna be a 1v6 because you won or 1v6 because you lost. And dogfights don't really happen, and if you try to dogfight in the middle of the match, chances are you're going to get killed by someone else that's going to third party you, because well, these planes are so fast that you can clear half the map by the time you finally get a gun kill. So I suggest you just stay fast, and to get away from a Phantom, your best bet is going to be putting it into a little climb and try to maintain about 1320. This way you can out accelerate him, because you do out accelerate the F4Es. Just be careful that you don't end up too high. It's kind of just a matter of trying to let them break off, because if you go too high and they shoot Sparrows or AIM-9Js at you, you can have a very tough time dodging them. You do have flash, you do have chaff, which are nice, but they're not foolproof. And if you fly around without the afterburner on this thing, you are likely to bleed way too much speed. This thing without the afterburner isn't very good. Of course, the afterburner is the main selling point, but considering how much fuel this thing drinks with the afterburner on, you kind of want to fly it without the afterburner on at times. But it's not very viable, and that's mainly just because, well, it's simply not fast enough when you're not using the afterburner. So you kind of just have to run it. You're gonna run out of fuel very quick. So use that power to get an early game advantage. Try to sideswipe people at the start, and that's exactly what I'm doing right here. This time, however, it was not very effective. I'm coming in from the side. I'm trying to get some people that are, well, not paying attention. This guy pulls head on with me, so he basically denies me any kind of way to kill him. Shoot a little bit above him, so if he tries to keep pulling in, he will blow himself up. Most people do that. He didn't, unfortunately, and he survived the head-on. There's a lot of people all around me. Dodge this missile by just looking up. Looking up is a very important thing at top tier, because people get altitude so easily. And if they drop down on you, you're not looking at them, and they send a missile your way, chances are you are going to die. We are both going for the A7 here. I R60 him, so he was the easiest, most secure kill, and I just wanted to get someone out of the match, and that's gonna be kill number 1. Right now I will departure the area and make sure that I don't get jumped, because I was a little bit in the middle of this entire fight, which is what I don't want to be. So I'm gonna get my speed back up, and I'm gonna slowly but surely put it back into a climb, and then I see 2 F4Es right in front of me. There's one on the right, and there's one on my left. The one on my left seems to be going somewhere else. This one just missiled someone, so I shoot the missile at him, hoping he doesn't pay attention. Unfortunately he does. He breaks away, and my missile is going to be completely out of range. He dives into the sun, or he climbs into the sun, and he's just gonna be so much faster than me, and he's going to be outrunning me. But I'm gonna just keep my altitude a little bit here. I'm gonna put it in a very gradual climb. I'm gonna climb just below Mach, because climbing between 0.98 and 1.02 is very inefficient. So So I'd rather just put it into a climb right now, slowly close the gap on this dude, and he's gonna be turning a little bit, which is great. He's bleeding a lot of speed, we're at pretty high altitude now, and this should be a pretty easy missile kill. So, missile leading, going for it, and just out of range, very, very unlucky. Not sure how that didn't hit, probably just outran it. And I shot it from below, but he's gonna be diving out, he doesn't actually notice me, and if you are paying attention, I turned my radar off. And because I turned my radar off, he doesn't get an RWR spike when I lock him up with an IR missile, and it got him completely off guard. Perfect. FRE down, but the match is far from over. Anime Plot Armor over here, who also has a YouTube channel, he makes tank content under the name Caven Up. Very, very good tank player. If you are interested in that, feel free to check him out. But he is packet lossing out of his mind right now on the voice commune. He is sounding like a robot, and he got missiled because he just didn't have any control at all. He wasn't even sure if he was still in the match. But he finally dies, and now we are a little bit of a tough spot. You got a few FREs left, about 5 of them, and Razor is in an F-104S, which is definitely not the most competitive plane at this BR. And I'm in a MiG-21bis, which is pretty competitive, it's pretty good, but there's 5 of them, and all of these planes will outperform us to a certain degree. Dodge that, try to outrun the FRE here, and you're going to be seeing more of that in the other gameplay as well. I try to go sideways a little bit with the flares, because they pop left and right, and I'd rather put the flares in between our 2 planes than just to the left and right, because it feels like I don't really cover an area with the flares that way. Shooting the head on, miss aim, aim 7 coming in, looking around everywhere, making sure that I don't get jumped on. And Razor now has someone on his 6, and you're going to be seeing some defensive flying, and he's going to be trying to dogfight the FRE, but the FRE just has such an advantage when it comes to dogfighting, especially in F-104s. The F-104 is of course faster than it, and especially on cold maps it's extremely fast, but in terms of being caught, he has very low fuel, he can't really do a lot. So I'm going to be trying to get over there while also dealing with the guy on my 6. I'm outrunning him pretty rapidly. I'm not flying directly towards Razor because I don't want to give him the impression that I'm helping him out right now, because if I go straight for Razor, there are chances that they're gonna see us both together with the last 2, and then they rush us down. He's shooting all his missiles at me, which is perfect because there's a very big chance he's going to RTB. And I'm gonna go into the cloud and I'm gonna fly towards Razor. I notice that the RWR stops pinging me, and I fly towards Razor, who's dogfighting the FRE. Or trying to reverse him rather, and trust me, it's not a fight you want to be in. It's very, very sketchy. And I need to be careful that I don't rip my wings off, because I do rip at 360 if I go above that. I have a little bit of RNG factor. Anywhere above 365 you can rip the wings off. Sometimes it will be at 1400, the other time it will be at 1420, and the other time you will rip your wings off at 1370. It's completely random. I'm trying to rush in here, I'm trying to get there as quickly as I can, but am I there in time? I really hope I am. He's pulling lead on Razor, and it's just so close, and I just blow him up. And you can tell that the burst that was going to end Razor leaves his plane as he blows up, and it was just perfectly timed. We're gonna go for an RTB here. We kind of have to. I don't have missiles left. I completely spammed them away. We take back off and we rush back in, and we need to make sure that we are gonna win this now. There's still 3 FREs left, or 4 even. I'm not sure exactly. I think that's 4 actually. 4 FREs, and this time I am going to radar lock this guy, because I want to scare him. I want him to not know where we're coming from. I shoot an R60, he sees it, and the missile is not going to track him. The other FREs are far enough away at this point that I can very comfortably just pitch up like this, lock him again, try to get a missile in, fat finger my flap ski, and yeah, that instantly comes off because I'm going 600. Pull him back in because asymmetric lift is not something I'm very much of a fan of. And our 60 range is not the greatest. He's diving out, he's going supersonic, he's over 2 kilometers away. It's gonna be a complete waste of a missile, so I'm just gonna not shoot it. And I'm gonna be staying on this guy 6 for a little bit. FRE coming head on with me. Shoot at him. Shoot a little bit too low this time. And again, just the gun mount, it's way too low. I really don't like it. This guy's gonna be turning in front of me. The other F3 won't be turning around anytime soon. He was going pretty fast. Shoot an R60 at him. Make sure that I dodge the other guy on my 6. He dodges my R60 as well, and now I get 2 of them on my ass. Razor missiles 1, aim 7, Sparrow doing work, and now it's 3v2. These guys are going to catch me. I want Razor to get closer to me. I turn the afterburner off. I pre-flare. I flare. Try to dodge these 2 guys. Try to be unpredictable. Dodge both of them. And now I'm on the 6 of this one. Seeing what he's going to be doing. If he pulls after me, I want to pull back into him. Because I will be able to turn with him for a little bit. But right now, he's going to be busy with Razor. And I'm going to be chasing this guy down simply for the fact that I'm on his 6. Razor's going to be trying the dogfight. The other F4E, but of course, just like earlier, it's gonna be very, very risky, and the main thing here is he wants to force him slow. I'm gonna be on the F3, pushing him away just long enough, and then I pull back in. The F3 is at this point too slow. He can either go for me, try to deny me the missile hit, but then he gets Razor back on his 6, or he continues the dogfight and gets shot on by me by a missile. He goes head on with me, and he gets well punished for it. This was the best call for him, but he didn't win the head-on, unfortunately for him, and it cost him his plane. But he couldn't really do much there. He had Razor on his 6. I was coming in from another angle. He had to take a bet. He took the best chance, but this time I hit my head-on, and he didn't survive it. Dodge the head-on with the F3. I don't want to go head-on with that Vulcan. I really don't. I don't want to throw the match this late in, but there's still an F3 somewhere, and he's just running around. And I need to make sure that he doesn't catch me off guard. Say GG, of course, it's not over yet. It's 2v2. And they are still in superior planes. One of them, however, is bombing. But that doesn't mean that he can't come out of nowhere and shove missiles up our asses. He hasn't used them. He has 4 of them if he's running them. Which is pretty scary. So busy looking at the chat that I almost ripped my wings off here. And you can see that I kind of jolt. I kind of noticed a bit too late. Just in time. And we put it in a little bit of a climb, and we're going to chase this guy all the way to the map border, which is what I want to do here. There's 2 guys on the 6. He's kind of forced to do something here. He won't be able to outrun us completely, because he's stuck in that map border. And he can't really turn away, because he doesn't have enough of a turning space. I will cut him off. So he's kind of boxed in here. He can't really go anywhere. And I have 4 R60s left, so I'm not going to be using them very sparingly. I just want this guy to get closer as fast as we can. I get around 1.8 kilometers, shoot the R60. He flares, he pulls, he drops them in groups, which is good. You don't want to leave a breadcrumb trail back to your plane, as I said earlier as well. And I'm going to be locking him again. And he's going to be turning, we're going to be returning to the battlefield. I'm dead on this 6, I'm going to be slowing down a lot as well. I'm a MiG-21, and you can tell that the roll and the rudder on my plane is just very uncomfortable. Any map borders in the spot where I can chase him. Very unlucky. And then the other F3 comes in. I want to dive into him. Too steep right now for him to missile me, and I need to accelerate away. So I'm going to keep my afterburner on this time. I still have 10 seconds or 10 minutes of fuel left. And Razor is here now with only 2 minutes of fuel left. He takes the head on. He could see that the Phantom was not going to be pulling into that. And now it's 2v1. He's pretty slow and he's sandwiched. We're both on different aspects of him. He needs to take a shot. He needs to take someone to go for. I'm definitely the bigger threat here because an F-104S isn't very maneuverable and he can probably make him overshoot. Very low on fuel. And I have missiles that can actually kill him. He's very slow at this point. I'm gonna lock him up. But it's not even worth. I'm not sure if it's gonna track. He's gonna flare. Doesn't track at all. He's very slow and I just take his wing off and that's gonna be game. To the enemy team, GG. Fun fight, probably one of the most enjoyable fights in top tier I've had in a while. I hope the MiG-21bis stays a little bit competitive, but we'll have to see what MiGs are gonna be like once rank 7 comes in. But GG, and on to the next one. And here we go, this is more of an ideal matchup. There's not many 10.7s, there's one F3 in the area, but it's a very cluttered area. And I thought I'd just tag this on, one of the more interesting games that I've gotten in a span of about 100 kills that I've gotten in the day of recording this one. So I thought, why not? More footage is always welcome by you people, at least most of the time. So I figured I'd put it in anyway. Looking for dots here, there's a lot of AI around and it's very hard to see where they are. And there comes the F-104 and it's an F-104J, he's going straight up, for caving up. And well, a slow F-104 is not going to be dodging. Area GL1 goes down. by crit from Ripjaws earlier in the game, but he didn't manage to make it to the end of the game. So Harrier behind us, there's an F4E around, and he's going to be the main threat here, and we really want to be aware of him, because I don't want to get jumped by him. I want to know where he is. If the F4E gets on my 6, as I talked about in the last video, you are in a very tough spot. Not the last video, the last match, and the match before that actually. On average, you don't want to have an F4E on your 6. F4EJ is doable, FGRs are doable, the F4F and the F4E are just extreme pains in the ass to get off your 6. There's an Harrier in front of me, I want this guy dead because he has SRAMs, and then I look over to my shoulder and there's an F4E going for me. And I pop flares in the head-on with GL1 because SRAMs are very vulnerable to flares, and I know that if I'm a little bit off angle, he can SRAM me in the head-on, and that's something I don't want to happen because I won't be able to dodge it. So by preemptively flaring, which I will be doing here for a little bit, I can make sure that the SRAMs don't track me. And I flare the second SRAM, it goes straight into the ground, I pull up over the F4E. I'm not going to win a sustained dogfight here, because if that Harrier comes back, I am completely toast. Harrier isn't very fast, I shoot an R60 at him, that should catch him. The Harrier is not going to be dodging that very easily. And now I just try to out-accelerate the F4E. Preemptively flare, you can see me kind of roll left and right so that the flares go up and down as well as left and right. So that there's a little bit more of an area where the flares are when he tries to lock me. He doesn't seem to shoot an AIM-9J at me, so I'm going to assume that it was successful. Head on with a Hunter, it's only an FGA-9, not really worried about that. He only has the AIM-9Es and not SRAMs, and the SRAMs are the main threat in that plane. Hunter, FGA, very good plane when down-tiered and not facing MiG-19s, but against the MiG-21bis, it's not going to be doing a lot. The F4E is getting locked down by enemy plot armor in his SMT. He's not in the bis, so he lacks a little bit of power there, but he has him completely locked down. Hunter is going for him, so I'm going to be going for the Hunter, because he's going to be the easiest target now. Expecting him or both of them to pull head on with me, however, because I'm on their 6. And it's a completely natural reaction to then cut my lock off. They go head on with me, both of them as expected, and I just go up. Denied the Hunter any chance of going for me here. And we just loop back over and we go back on the F4E. The F4E is very slow right now. I have some altitude to dive with. I out-accelerate him completely anyway. He notices that he's not going to outrun me. He doesn't even try to dive. He's going to try to turn up into me. I could have R60'd him here, but I just wanted to make sure that I was going to have one left over for the Hunter. Completely taking apart. And with shots like that, the 23s are pretty effective. He suddenly gets set on fire. Not sure what happened to him. And we pull back on the Hunter and Cave Nut missiles him. We will finish up the F4E here, but he's actually going to give me an assist because he got killed by none other than a random base. Yay. And there you have it. Hope you enjoyed it. See you all pretty soon again, and have a nice Monday.